welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFXTV. I'm the WrestleGamer, Double Billy Bujo, being joined by old friend Mike from Iowa, who's also a part of the WWE Network Facebook page. Mike, how you doing?
I feel bad as hell, but I'm good either way.
Well, we're going to talk about Friday Night Smackdown for the week of May 24th, 2013. And we open up with Miz TV. And Miz's guest on Miz TV this week was none other than Fandango, or as I like to call him, Fandildo, or Fan Dodge Durango, or Fan Jimmy Django, or hey, movie guy, I need some tickets. Anyway. They go on to try to talk about what happened with the tag match that happened on Monday Night Raw between, with him and Wade Barrett. And Wade Barrett ended up coming out, apparently wasn't very happy at all. Also would like to quote Miz here, calling Fandango a giant bag of Skittles, and also congratulating Fandango because he was now the new Fruity Pebble. I actually thought that was quite funny. But there's one thing we did notice here. I don't know if you want to talk about it too much, Mike, but it's the fact of the matter is that Wade Barrett debuted this week another new entrance theme. Do you think this entrance theme? What are your thoughts about that?
To be honest, I actually, I was so focused, just watching. I didn't even really realize they had a new theme song. Was it good? Honestly, I didn't realize they had a new theme song. I was so used to his old one, because every time he switches, it takes me a while to fucking, excuse my language, he changes it so much, it's hard to even realize when he changes it anymore. I didn't even realize it.
Well, it ended up deteriorating and breaking down, and of course, it led to the opening match, the Intercontinental title on the line, The Miz taking on Wade Barrett, and of course, he had Fandango on commentary. I guess maybe to try to start putting himself over, with mic skills instead of just doing, all the dancing bit. Try to kind of solidify his character on the mic. Something we really haven't seen yet from Fandango, except him just saying his name over and over again, like he was Dolph Ziggler when he first came into the WWE. Hi, my name is Fandango. Anyway, the matchup. At one point, it got to the point where Fandango asked the commentators to hit his music. He felt like stretching and started dancing with Summer Rae, and Miz kind of took offense to that by kicking him when his back was turned, and the finish of the match came, and Miz was about to apply the figure four leg lock on Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett kicks him into the ropes, and then Fandango kicks Miz, getting Wade Barrett intentionally disqualified, and at that point it had turned into just a beatdown of Miz, and then all of a sudden Wade Barrett hits the bullhammer on Fandango. And Mike, I don't know about you, but from the way this is shaping up, this has got to be, if they want to lead this into WWE Payback, their new pay-per-view, and if they really want to go through with this really screams triple threat.
Easily, man, easily. And I remember, I think it was Stone Cold, or I can't remember who it was. Someone said that Fandango would be Intercontinental Champion in like 6 months. Well, looks like it's gonna be a little bit shorter than that. I mean, I don't know if he'll win right away, but they did say at Payback every major. I don't know if they said every championship or every major championship, but it's gonna be on the line at Payback. So, I'm not sure what the concept of Payback's gonna be, but.
Well, we do know one confirmed match, and that's John Cena versus Ryback, I think, and I believe it's the ambulance match.
Yeah, which is kind of weird, but.
No, we haven't seen ambulance matches back since the day of Mike Awesome in WCW. We haven't seen them in that long of a time. But
an ambulance match?
Yeah.
Actually, you saw one last year with John Cena and Kane. Actually.
That wasn't just a stretcher match.
No, that was at what was it? I think it was that Elimination Chamber last year.
Oh, I'll have to go back and look. But
I believe so. I don't quote me on that, but I believe so.
yeah, well, I'll go back and get a look at it when I get the chance. But scoring this right now, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. The Miz TV beginning, I thought it was actually funny, and the matchup in itself, I thought it was good. Really can't see nothing bad about it, except the fact that they really, when you want someone to kind of address themselves as a gimmick and try to solidify and put himself over on the microphone, you really need that person to talk a little bit more and really just, they're trying to get Fandango to, answer the questions. Wade Barrett called you a ballerina. I mean, how do you respond to that? Well, and then Fandango says, you know what? I am a ballerina. In fact, the only reason I didn't help him on Monday Night Raw because my glitter was coming off. I had to go backstage and make sure I had my glitter on my body. I'm like, okay, that was like the strangest answer for a promo I've ever heard in my life. I don't know why they went that route, but that's the route they went. Now, now backstage, Bryan is still kind of brooding over the fact that he and Kane are no longer the tag team champions, and still has that thought in his head that he is the weakest link. So he decided that he wanted to kind of prove himself and had a match with Jack Swagger, which was by far a very, very decent match for these two, Mike. Especially for the fact that we really didn't have to hear Zeb Coulter on the microphone.
Well, I actually like Zeb Coulter,
Oh
but
yeah. Well, I take that back, but I was just kind of playing up to all the marks out there who believe in the story. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
you
Dirty
know,
Dutch Mantel, aka Zeb Coulter, you know, uh,
I,
he's one of the reasons why you gotta believe, Mike, that Jack Swagger has been able to go over and work the matches that he's been working. If it would have been just Swagger by himself, he wouldn't have been able to have done it because he does not have the mic skills that Zeb Coulter does.
yeah, yeah, and I still say everyone's hypocritical over Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger's story. The whole, get the illegals out, yada yada. Everyone's like chanting USA, USA. I'm like, technically, well, one, they are defending the USA, and two, you boo them. Yet in real, when it comes to real life, and I know it's wrestling, and you're supposed to forget about real life, yada yada. But when it comes to real life, the same things they're booing that they're saying in real life, they're actually complaining about as well. So it's like, it's all.
This next following statement is of my own personal accord and does not necessarily reflect those of anyone here at WGS-TV. Oh wait, it does. Glenn Beck, screw you! That is all.
But yeah, it was decent. Yeah, he won via submission, if I'm remembering
Yes,
correctly.
with the no lock, and then after the match was over, it looked like Daniel Bryan still had something to prove, and once again applied the no lock to Jack Swagger, and it took Kane to get him off, and Daniel Bryan still just incensed at thinking that he is still the weakest link, even though he won the match. But as far as technically speaking, I thought this was a very good match, but two guys who really know their craft. I gotta go 4 out of 5 on this one because I'm like I say, you want to see good technical wrestling? Look no further than Daniel Bryan and Jack Swagger, Mike.
Definitely.
Well, next up on SmackDown, I really someone's gonna have to explain this to me because I don't understand. We had pointless segments like, a tug of rope, tug of rope or tug of war, whatever you want to effing call it. Um, we had an arm wrestling contest, and then we had a semi truck pull, and now to add to that was this segment right here of pointless segments in a wrestling show, and that involves Damien Sandow bringing Matt Stryker out there and kind of challenging him to solve the riddle of the Gordian's knot. Now, if you guys don't know the history of the Gordian's knot, too bad. I ain't gonna tell you. If you want to know
I
that,
don't even know what the hell the
yeah.
really
Well, the only thing I'm going to tell people out there is if you want to know more about the Gordian's Knot, then go back to Friday Night SmackDown and watch the segment if you can actually bear it. But anyway, back to this one. He brought out he brought up Stryker to try to get him to solve the riddle of the Gordian's knot by trying to get him to untie this very complex knot that he had in a rope. Stryker couldn't do it, and Damien Sandow started making fun of him, started making the fact that he was a substitute teacher, which brought out Sheamus, and Sheamus tried his hand at the Gordian knot challenge, and then Damien Sandow, you know what? Me being intelligent, I'm going to show you how to solve the Gordian's knot. He brought out a pair of pliers and cut the rope, and then just like that, the knot was tied. That's it. Then Damien Sandow tries to bro kick. I'm sorry, Sheamus tries to bro kick Damien Sandow. Sandow saw it coming and got out of the ring. And then apparently Sheamus wanted to teach Damien Sandow the law of Newton and the law of gravity by throwing Stryker out of the ring and onto Damien Sandow. You know, what goes up must come down thing. Pretty much, Mike, with the current trend of pointless segments in WWE today, this definitely goes right with them right here, because I really didn't see the point of this segment. You pretty much have to agree, right?
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, why? It's about as pointless as freaking having a fucking, excuse my language, having a pudding match on a pay-per-view. It just, no matter how.
Only if it involved the WWE Divas. Anybody else, it would have been pointless.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as fun as it would have been to watch, it's still pointless.
Well, yeah.
You know, so
2.5 out of 5 from me on this one. Next up, it was Jericho. I wonder how many people remember the tag team of Jericho. We saw Chris Jericho taking on Big Show. This was a very good match. Big Show, man, I gotta tell you, Mike, when Big Show does those chops in the ring, man, he was really stiffing Chris Jericho, because if you would have looked closely at the chest of Chris Jericho during that match, man, he was turning beet red. You could see welt marks showing on his chest, man. I mean, man, I really don't envy anybody that has to work a match with Big Show, because you know that they're going to get stiffed really bad.
Yeah, it's those chops, especially when he tells the crowd to shh, and you hear that smack, whether it hits or not, dude, it just makes you just want to cringe. Like, ugh, that was.
Oh, it hits. I'm going to tell you right now, it hits. I promise you that. You know.
I mean, you just know sometimes you can tell when things do and don't. I can never quite tell, but it just makes me cringe. Like, if that was me and I got hit, man, I would have died, man. My chest would have caved in, and ow.
Now, here's an interesting thing, though. On the finish of the match came on the outside. Chris Jericho hit the code breaker on Big Show, and he fell into the timekeeper's area. Jericho gets back into the ring, and Big Show gets counted out. Now, Big Show gets incensed over this news, and then grabs up a steel chair. Jericho sees it coming, drop kicks the steel chair into Big Show's ribs. I don't know, Mike doesn't want to hear that kind of word right now because of his current ribs issue, but that's what happened. And then Jericho did a chair shot on the back of Big Show. Big Show walked off with a look of disgust on his face, and it kind of leads me up to thinking, you know, Mike, do you think that maybe now they're kind of putting the axe in the Jericho Fandango storyline, and maybe starting something here now with Jericho and Big Show?
I don't see the reason for it, to be honest. I mean, you think Fandango would be kind of mad that he lost to Jericho and whatnot, but hey, there's certain feuds that just a lot of times I just don't see the point, and this is kind of one of them. You know, it's just like Del Rio getting a title shot just because you beat up my best friend. Okay, that deserves a world title shot. You know, that same situation. I just don't. good match, but I don't see the reasoning behind it just yet, anyways.
Well, 3.5 out of 5 from me on this one. Next up, we brought out Curtis Axel, and then of course we had to look back at Monday Night Raw and saw what transpired between Curtis Axel and Triple H. Now, I want to say this though. Curtis Axel's promo, he said he accomplished more in one day than his father and his grandfather ever accomplished in their entire careers. And I kind of find that hard to believe. But then again, you're trying to put yourself over, and that's one of the ways to kind of put yourself over is to kind of say that you've done more than what your father and your grandfather ever did. And I believe, in a sense, that if I remember back to a promo that Cody Rhodes did, I think he might have said the exact same thing, but just in the lines of his father and maybe his brother, and nothing more than that. But we turn into a match now with Curtis Axel and Sin Cara. To me, Mike, I felt like I was watching NXT, and not the good NXT either. I'm talking about the bad NXT where nobody actually gave a crap.
You mean where they had to run obstacle courses around the ring?
Yes. I wonder how many people remember that garbage.
Oh yeah, let's run around the ring, jump over a barrier, crawl under a rope, do some other bullshit, push a dumpster up a ramp or something.
Curtis Axel gets the win with the maneuver and when he was known as Michael McGillicutty, I know it was never really official, but I kind of named the maneuver the McGillicutter because I couldn't think of anything else to call it. Now, I don't know if they're going to give it, if they're ever going to give his signature move an elaborate name, or if they're going to have him switch it up and do a different signature move. But that was a maneuver used to beat Sin Cara, and man, I got to feel bad for Sin Cara. I mean, how far have you fallen to have yourself go over by basically someone who's just, getting us a third shot in a sense of making it in the WWE. That's all I'm gonna say. 3 out of 5. I would have given it a lower score, Mike. But I have to say though, I was actually a little bit impressed with the promo by Curtis Axel.
Hey, you know what? At least we don't have we went out on NXT where Kofi Kingston called McGillicutty's fans McGilla buddies.
Oh God.
All you McGilla buddies out there.
Oh jeez, you had to bring that one up. That was a nightmare. Anyway, now
Yep.
Now, next up, it was scheduled to be Kofi Kingston versus Dean Ambrose for the United States Championship. And lo and behold, no surprises here. The Shield ends up getting involved, and then looked like that Dean Ambrose was going to retain by disqualification. And then they were going to beat down Kofi Kingston. Now comes Sheamus and Randy Orton, and in typical Teddy Long fashion, changes the main event to a six-man tag. And I must say, normally some of Teddy Long's changes aren't that good, but I gotta say, entertainment value. This was really well done. The crowd was very much into it, and it wasn't being piped in either. But the finish of the match came down again to Dean Ambrose and Kofi Kingston. Something we need to make note too that now it's hard to say if it's legit or not, but it really looked like that Roman Reigns injured his ankle. I'm not sure at what point in the match when it happened, or if it was something that happened on the outside or during the commercial break in between the match. But Roman Reigns really looks like he's got an ankle injury. So hard to say, and we can probably look into some of the news sites and see what I can find out for all you guys. But the finish of the match came with Dean Ambrose applying that kick out bulldog on Kofi Kingston and getting the victory. So the Shield once again gets a victory with only one known defeat, and that was that disqualification loss they suffered at the hands of John Cena and Team Hell No the week before Extreme Rules on Monday Night Raw. Now, overall score on this Friday Night SmackDown is going to get a 3.5 out of 5. I love the Miz TV promo, at the beginning. The matchup with Miz and Wade Barrett, I thought it was okay. Fandango could have done at least a little bit more, in my opinion, to put himself over on the microphone than what he did. Daniel Bryan and Jack Swagger, again, wrestling clinic to me, good match. Damien, the segment Damien Sandow and the Gordian knot, I really don't understand the purpose. Chris Jericho defeating Big Show by countout, I thought it was a really good match, and kind of teased to me that they were probably doing something different now with Jericho and Big Show. Curtis Axel and Sin Cara, it was kind of cut and dry. And then the main event with the Shield defeating Kofi, Kingston, Sheamus, and Randy Orton. It looked like a really good match in my opinion, and Roman Reigns might be injured, but I will continue to check out the news sites and the Facebook pages and see what I can find out for you guys. But from Mike, from me, it's a 3.5 out of 5. What about you? Your overall score and thoughts?
I don't usually like to give ratings because I usually definitely misrate stuff, but overall, I thought it was a little better than the typical SmackDown. I still feel like SmackDown seems like a recap show for the most part, or just kind of thrown together at last minute. Just never. It's been a while to me since SmackDown has truly been fully enjoyable. But I'd say it was pretty decent. Besides the Damien Sandow thing, it just made no sense whatsoever.
All right. Well, what we want to know now from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Friday Night SmackDown this week. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. Mike from Iowa is also part of the WWE Network Facebook page. Mike, where can fans check out your Facebook page?
Facebook.com/WWE Network. Posting news. One of my fellow admins is actually getting ready to start a tournament, if you will, the 64 best tag teams ever. They'll put them all in a bracket, and day by day or week, eliminate one team after another until we get down to declare what the fans consider the best tag team ever.
Yeah. All right, cool. And also don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZepXTV Network. So for Mike from Iowa and the WWE Network Facebook page, I'm the WrestleGamer Double B Billy Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching. We also like to remind everyone that Gulf Coast Wrestling presents Rockin' the House Weekend with our very special guests, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson of the Rock and Roll Express. Friday, June 28th at the Station Bar and Grill in Broussard, Louisiana. Saturday, June 29th at the KC Hall in Plaquemine, Louisiana. And Sunday, June 30th at the American Legion Hall in Abbeville, Louisiana. For more information on these shows, please call 337-251-0546 or visit gcw.gulfcoastwrestling.com.
Stone Concerts. Stone Concerts. Stone Concerts. Stone Concerts. Spiritual speaking. Stone Concerts. Stone Concerts. I'm Haley Ringrose. Stone Concerts.
My name's Andrew Weatherall.
Spiritual speaking. Stoke Concerts.